Guys, welcome back to the SLC Dunk Post Game Show. The Utah Jazz defeat the Dallas Mavericks. This is Hanson James. It was a nice victory for the Jazz. The game started off really nice, by the way, and in a lot of ways, there are a few things to take from this game that are pretty exciting. One is our opening play for the Utah Jazz is a spot-up jumper for Rudy Gobert, and he buries it. If you're taking count right now, that means that Rudy Gobert is 2 for 2 outside of 3 feet from the rim. That means anyone who comes at you and says something like Rudy Gobert, all he does is dunk. Rudy Gobert also had 5 assists tonight. An outside jump shot, looked fantastic, and I think led the team in plus minus. So Rudy Gobert was a monster tonight. Don't listen to people that say that all Rudy Gobert does is dunk the ball, because he's incredibly dominant. And his ability to defend the rim tonight was unbelievable. Rudy Gobert is a major part of why the Utah Jazz won the game. The next thing we saw was Derek Favors shooting a corner three and burying it. Another thing that is really exciting. If that's something that we can actually do, I don't know if that's something the Jazz can do with regularity, but if they can, I mean, we came out with a hot start. The only team that had a hotter start than us was basically JJ Barea, which was unbelievable. I don't know what it is, but JJ Barea just seems to get like his hot spot in Utah is all over the court, or at least the 3-point line, because he was making every shot he was taking. And part of that was that Donovan Mitchell was guarding him and lost him on a couple plays. And props to Barea that he buried those threes that he took. But Barea looked like he looked really good tonight, and he's not normally like that. So sometimes that happens. And, when a player gets hot like that, it's hard to kind of overcome it at times, because you're doing what you can. He buries the three. It can be frustrating. But the nice thing about this team is that the Jazz didn't freak out about it. They just kept playing their game. And we ended the half down by 9. At the end of the half, and I think I tweeted this, that the Jazz shot 64% from 3, or the Mavericks shot 64% from 3, and the Jazz were only down 9. So there wasn't really a big reason to freak out about that game. Oh, Josh Tyree, why is it so hard to watch a game on TV? You probably don't know the answer, but I do miss the KJazz days when I got to see every home game for free. Extremely frustrated. We live in a cable world, guys. The major reason we have the Jazz in Utah is because of cable fees. So paying the money to watch the Jazz is kind of what keeps the Jazz in Utah, because the Jazz take part in shared revenue with other teams. So it sucks. It's a lot of money. I agree. Like Josh, it's a lot of money to pay to watch the Jazz, but it's what keeps them here in Utah. That's one of their major revenue streams, is revenue sharing. So thank you to, it just is what it is. But anyways, Barea shot lights out. The Mavericks were hitting 64% of their threes, and the Jazz were only down 9 at the half, and then ended up winning this game by like 13. We won the game, let's see, 104-89. So that's a 15-point victory. We were down by 9 at the half. That's a big swing for the Jazz, and that's big-time stuff for this team. Because there's times where we struggle offensively, there's no doubt. But a big reason that we did not struggle offensively tonight was Ricky Rubio. And yes, Ricky Rubio fans, guess what? We're going to talk about Ricky Rubio. You don't need to come into SLC Dunk comments every day and say, why don't we talk about Rubio? Why didn't you say something about Rubio? Why? I love Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio's fantastic. I loved Ricky Rubio tonight, and I haven't been anti-Rubio all year. You guys would think that we hate Ricky Rubio. We really like Ricky Rubio. He's great. And on a night like this, when Rubio's hitting shots and getting his passes, Rubio's phenomenal, because his defense was spectacular. His passing was really good tonight, and he was hitting his shots, especially his 3-point shot. Rubio was phenomenal tonight. Let's look at what was Rubio's line tonight. Ricky Rubio had 20 points tonight, shot 53% from the field, and 4 for 8 from 3. That is big time. And then 6 assists for a plus 19. Rubio was phenomenal. And a big part of what was nice with Rubio is not just his offense and his passing, but the fact that he was able to come in and really just shut down JJ Barea. Barea was hot as could be tonight, was hitting everything he took, and Rubio came in and stopped him. So that was big-time stuff. Rubio was fantastic. And the other thing I like about Rubio, and we'll talk about a couple things right now about Rubio, is his passion on the court is amazing. This guy is a competitor. He wants to win. And I talked about this on a tweet. You know what? We had a point guard last year on this team who chose not to play, not in one playoff game, but an entire playoff series. That tells you a little bit about a certain player's character or competitiveness. You know who wouldn't do that is Ricky Rubio. I promise you, if we make the playoffs this year, Rubio ain't sitting down, and he's going to give you everything he has, his heart and soul on that court. It's amazing. That moment when Rubio had just a really great string of plays in this game against the Mavericks, when he looked at the crowd and does the, "Are you not entertained?" That was amazing. That was amazing. I love Ricky Rubio, and he's fantastic. And if Ricky Rubio can become a 33+% three-point shooter, the Jazz all of a sudden have a big weapon on their hands. If he plays like he did tonight, there's a lot of teams we can beat. You know, we have flaws on this team. We have two bigs that aren't shooters, although Rudy Gobert's quickly becoming a stretch big, I guess. And Derek Favors can shoot the three. I don't know how much he's going to make it, but he did hit the corner three tonight. So if that can become something that Favors hits consistently, fantastic. But this team is flawed. But regardless of those things, last year we had a point guard who wouldn't play in a playoff series, and we had a shooting guard who, as talented as he was, held this team hostage in the offseason, made promises that he did not keep, and left us with what we have now. You know, this team is going to be competitive every night. They're playing hard, and it's a lot easier to root for. And I'll take these guys every day of the week. Would I love to have Hayward's talent on this team? Of course, because we'd be that much better. And how much brighter would our future be if Hayward was on this team? But he's not. And he, you know, all things said and done with Gordon Hayward, he still turned his back on us, guys. And, you know, you don't see that from Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio was a player last year that sat on the bench and took it and was a pro's pro, you know. And if something like that happens this year, which I don't really think will, but if it does, Ricky Rubio will be just absolute character guy that's going to do everything he can to help this team win, because that's who Ricky Rubio is. He's a winner. He wants to win. Is he a shooter like Steph Curry and George Hill and all these guys? And no, he's not. And no one, I think, expects Ricky Rubio to be that. If Ricky Rubio can be a 33+% three-point shooter, that's amazing. That's incredibly good for Ricky Rubio. But if not, he's still going to be a competitor that's going to give you every ounce of heart and competitiveness that you could ask for. And it's exciting, you know. Are we going to win the finals this year? No. But we have a team of competitors and leaders and guys that really want to win. And that's exciting, you know. Dirk Nowitzki was really good tonight. That guy's going to play till he's 57 years old. I swear, just hit three-pointers. He had that little vintage Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway jump shot. I don't know what it is. It feels like the Dallas Mavericks have just a vindictive, I don't know. They hate the Jazz, it feels like. There have been so many times where I've seen the Jazz and Mavericks get heated against each other, especially Dirk. Like, Dirk goes back years having just like these, it seems like he hates the Jazz with a passion. I'll never forget that time that Dirk knocked the ball out of Derek Favors' hand and Earl Watson slapped the ball out of Dirk's, and they both got in each other's face. Like, just for whatever reason, when the Mavericks come to town, it's just going to be a competitive fight. So, kind of a fun game. Donovan Mitchell struggled in the first half. I think the big reason that he sat this game is he just kind of left Barea open on a few plays. I don't think it's because he didn't want to guard him. I think he just lost him, and that's rookie stuff. And guys, if you're going to get on Donovan Mitchell every single game he makes a mistake, you've got to tone it down a little bit, because he's a rookie. This is game 6-7. It's game 7. He's a rookie. And guess what? In the fourth quarter, he came in, he buried a three and made big-time steals and defense at the end. I mean, he was a big part of the closeout to win the game, too. So, you know, don't get on him for every little mistake he makes. He's a rookie. He's going to be phenomenal. You know, that corner three is going to be something we're going to get a lot this season, and he's going to really push for minutes. The other guy for the Jazz, and this is pretty exciting stuff, and I'll tell you why, is Rodney Hood. Rodney Hood was fantastic tonight. And Rodney kind of stayed within his game, which is what I really want. What I really am hoping for with Rodney, and he kind of showed it tonight, is not to do too much. You know, if he can be a spot-up three-point shooter, a Michael Redd type player that can hit threes at a 40% clip, he becomes such a big-time weapon for us. Because that three-point shot opens up so much for this team. And Rodney Hood was hitting it tonight, and he was hitting it yesterday. And the reason that Jazz fans should be excited about Rodney Hood's shooting and three-point shooting is because 3 or 4 games ago, what happened? He hurt his calf. Now, we remember last season when Rodney Hood got his, I think it was a similar injury. He just like pulled his calf or something like that, or a hamstring. He couldn't shoot for the rest of the year. By the end of last season, Rodney Hood was coming off the bench. And so tonight, Rodney Hood's been hitting threes at a regular rate. And I think for the season, he was at 41%. Tonight, Rodney Hood was a 5 for 9, 55%. The guy's shooting like 43, 44% from three, guys. That's exciting. There's things we can work with on offense. Is our offense going to be super elite, having 3 average to subpar shooters in Rubio, Favors, and Gobert? We're probably not going to be the number one. We're not going to be a top 10 offense. It's probably just not going to happen. But we can be a 15 to 20 ranked offense if we have Rodney Hood and Joe Ingles hitting 3-point shots. Absolutely. At certain points in the beginning of the year, that's where we were. You know? So there's reasons to be excited. And yes, are the Dallas Mavericks a good team this year? No. They're going to lose a lot of games, and we should beat the Dallas Mavericks. But guess what? We beat them 104-89. That's what we should do against the Dallas Mavericks. And if a certain player or a certain team that we think that we should be beating at a, we can't win every game by 30, but if like a JJ Barea goes off on us, that just happens. This is the NBA, Jamal Crawford is a big reason we lost that game against Minnesota. Sometimes there's not a lot you can do. You can put a hand in their face if a certain player gets hot. I mean, JJ Barea was tonight, and luckily we won this game. And Minnesota, we should have won that game. It's just Jamal Crawford hit crazy shots, and, what are you going to do? Sometimes that happens. So that's going to happen here and there. Don't freak out. Just take the highs for what they are and the lows for what they are, and not be too don't go crazy. Let's see. I wanted to talk a little bit about, well, I don't know if we have a ton. Alec Burks looked really good. Oh, the final thing. That's what we wanted to say. Joe Johnson is struggling, and I don't think we really need to be freaking out just yet. If Joe Johnson's struggling like this after 20 games, then for sure. But I think Joe Johnson, the nice thing actually that we saw out of this game, ironically, was that we saw he had a wrist injury. Not that that's good, but it actually gave us a sign like, oh, okay. So he might be hurt, which would explain it, because it's very hard for me to see Joe Johnson's shooting just kind of taper off. His quickness and all these other things, those things might taper off. But, that guy can shoot a 3-point shot in his sleep. A corner 3 for Joe Johnson is something he does just, he can sleepwalk into a 3-point shot. And so it's obvious that Joe Johnson has an injury. It looks like his wrist. They're taping it up. I'm actually very grateful to Jazz Broadcast for showing us that, because some of us are just going a little bit like, what is going on? It really has felt like the Space Jam where like the mojo just got sucked out of him and he can't hit a shot. And so nice to see that he's actually dealing with something. So I wonder if at some point the Jazz just say, you know what, let's let him to have time to just rest and get that wrist right, and let's play some Jonas Jerebko, who can also hit a 3, And right now, when Joe Johnson's in the game, he's not able to hit a shot. And I think it's this injury. So if he can get better, that's great. Hit that 3 when his wrist is right. But for now, we can probably maybe think about playing a little Jonas Jerebko and just sit Joe Johnson to get better. That's something I would consider. And doesn't mean that Joe Johnson is not playing well. It's just he's missing shots. And that is one thing. When Joe Johnson is not hitting shots, he's not the greatest rebounder, defender at the 4 spot, but he's fine. But when he's not hitting shots, it's really difficult, So I wouldn't mind seeing Joe Johnson get a few days off, let that wrist get better, play a little Jonas Jerebko, who we did pick up, and one of our strengths this year was our depth, and that's why I wouldn't mind seeing a little more Jonas Jerebko. So big time, nice win for the Jazz tonight. Not a big time win. It is the Mavericks, and Mavericks fans know that this team is going to lose a lot of games, And so, anyways, nice win for the Jazz to make sure that they came back. They didn't freak out when they went down in that second quarter where JJ Barea was just on fire. Nice win for the Jazz to show their defense is still that elite thing and that they can score. All right, I'll talk to you later, guys.